Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to National Racing Network. It is Tuesday night, and that means only one thing. It's time for Tuesday Night Thunder. Yes, the Shock Series is back. It's race 6 of Series 9 here, and we have gone from Hampshire in the UK, where we were racing at Thruxton just a few weeks ago, off to the New World. Yes, we are in New Hampshire tonight, and we are racing at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. I'm Mr. Carl Wilkinson Withy, up here in the booth tonight, joined by Mr. Kobe Jordan on the cameras, and also being joined tonight with a new face, for me at least, in the commentary, being joined up here with Joe. Welcome, Joe, and welcome to the booth.
Oh, thank you very much, Carl. Nice to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you up here, and well, it should be a fantastic race. We're in for some drafting action here tonight in New Hampshire. It sort of acts as a proper super speedway for these little Indy Light 2000 cars.
I like that kind of action. You know, I have a very little experience on the track with this specific car, but one of my favorite things to watch and do in iRacing is open wheel oval racing. So I'm kind of glad that I'm here tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely a car that I've neglected in the past, unfortunately, and the few little times I've given it a drive have been fantastic. It is a very enjoyable little race car. We are looking at a 1 mile. It is the magic mile here at New Hampshire. 50 minutes for the race with a set fuel limit. Should be around about 35 minutes for the fuel. So we could be looking at a 2-stopper here if they can't quite make it the full distance, because there's going to be a lot of on-throttle action. So should be an exciting one. We're heading into qualifying now. It is a 2-lap average, so we'll see the drivers heading out very, very shortly. While we do that, though, we'll take a quick look at the championship standings after the 6 races, and it's James Watson up in the lead, unsurprisingly. His streak was ended, though, by that second-place man, Brian Labarge, with 139 points. Stephen Thompson sits in 3rd position with 116. Wes Shear in 4th position, 112 points, and 111 for Simon Feld. Then we have Victor Aldrich, Jason Miller, Peter Donchak, Drew Bernardi, and Nia Kamayo. So, qualifying is here, and it is going to be just keeping that car out of trouble. Tire temperature is going to be a hard thing to get up in this session, of course, because it takes a couple of laps for these things to switch on.
And you mentioned that this is it feels like a super speedway for these cars, and with a couple of laps for the tires to switch in, these guys, what race is this in the championship series, in the series so far? How far into the league are we?
Sixth race.
Sixth race. Okay, so these guys have done this before. They know what they're doing here. But patience sounds like it's going to be the name of the game too, a little bit. If you get on those tires early, it's only going to cause problems later in the game.
Yeah, we just saw that with Wes Shear, actually, just having a bit of a slide through the entry of the corner, just getting a little bit too hot in there, and that's going to cost a little bit of time. Managed to keep it out the wall, though, so set a time, all importantly. And look, when you've got a 2-lap average qualifying as well, you've got to be so careful, because it's so easy to make a mistake, and you're going to be running close to that wall as well, probably taking a bit of a higher line as well. New Hampshire, a bit of a flatter track, so that high line is often favoured here.
Okay, see, I've been doing a lot of watching a lot of stock car racing, so this is and trying to see where there's crossover between the two is going to be part of what I'm doing tonight. I think figuring out exactly the similarities. You mentioned there's going to be some drafting, and that's already got me excited, because that's probably when there's a great draft going on, that's when I think racing is at some of its most fun, when you've got two people who are really just battling it out at the exact same speed, seconds apart, and you just don't know when the tension's going to break. That's exciting stuff, man. It is a foggy day out in New Hampshire today, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. As we say back in Blighty, it's a bit of a pea super out there. We're hoping that it will clear up for the race a little bit, but yeah, it seems like it is a little bit foggy out there. So we apologise for some of the off-race action, some of the off-board action, I should say. Some of the cameras, especially with the beautiful YouTube artifacting that goes on with a live broadcast, is going to make it look like the screen is basically just white at the moment.
Well, it's very, I guess, very New Hampshire then of this, because that place can be very foggy. You can have this sort of lovely natural pea soup quality to it. So this is about as real as it gets. The simulation has come through yet again to deliver us the most authenticity that it possibly can.
Yeah, just off to the side of New Hampshire, the Atlantic Ocean, always known for its beautiful, lovely, sunny weather, of course. Never cold, miserable and foggy, the Atlantic. Never seen it like that at all.
No, it's a balmy, tropical place. That's what
Exactly.
I remember. Coconuts, girls with grass skirts. That's what it's like.
Absolutely, it's well known for its tropical fish, all of the exciting stuff that is in there.
Pina coladas, yep.
Glassy seas, completely calm, never wavy at all. We're looking
Absolutely.
at about 18 degrees air temperature, 19 degrees track temperature as well, and that's going to make it even trickier for them to warm up the tyres tonight, because there is barely any sun out there, and that's going to just really mean that it's going to take possibly a good 4 or 5 laps to just get those tyres in the full operational range, and could see some drivers struggling in the early stages, possibly for the start and restarts if they change those tyres.
Well, that's where it's going to be interesting to me, but I think in a situation like this, that the restarts are so much part of the game, and I don't know how stable these guys keep it. Has there been a lot of green flag racing in this league so far?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of green flag racing recently, and everybody's been keeping relatively well, but we have seen a couple of first corner incidents, and that tends to be the thing that catches most people out as James Watson crosses the line. Did he get across in time? No, just missed out by a couple of milliseconds there, so we'll be starting right from the back of the pack. Let us run through the starting grid for tonight's race. 55-minute race length tonight. We should be seeing a fair few laps out there. On the front row, it is Wes Shear. That lap did not cost him in the end. That little slide got him pole position just next to Ben Carswell. On row number 2, we have Victor Aldrich and Jason Miller. On row 3 tonight, it's Simon Fell and Nia Kamaho. On row number 4, we've got Jacob Collins with Michael Long. On the 5th row tonight, it's Brian Labarge and Drew Bernardi. On row number 6, we've got Peter Donchek and Stephen Thompson. And rounding us out tonight, it is Catherine Clement, new to the series, with James Watson. Watch out for Watson. We know he is quick and has taken all but one victory so far this season. But will we see another new winner, new face on the top step of the podium tonight? Could be some interesting stuff. So it is open setup. There's 3 sets of tyres, so 2 across the wall, the 1 set they start on. So we should be looking for some good action here tonight. It should be an exciting race.
And you mentioned that James Watson's taken, I guess 4 out of the last 5 races, and he's not got a starting time, but I guess that's not going to, you know what? That might not be much of anything holding him back here. If he's sitting there at the back of the pack thinking anything's going to hold him back, I certainly don't think so. It'll be interesting to see him climb through as things go. And it looks like, did Catherine Clement come out, or is Catherine still in the pits?
Still in the pits, so green flag about to come out, and we are going green here at New Hampshire. It is round 6 for TNT, brought to you by Watson Race Setups, and we are away, and they are away nicely. Everybody away calmly at the moment. We've got some good racing behind. Shear gets a good leap at the front. Oh, bit of contact for Jason Miller, I think it was, in the wall in the number 3, giving it a big kiss on that right front suspension. You don't want to be doing that too much in an open wheeler.
No. You can do a little. Oh, we got a spin in the back. It looks like Michael Long might be done with the race. He's missing a back left tire. Oh, unfortunate. I was just going to say you can do a little bit of bumping and grinding in stock car racing, but if you try any of that in the open wheel, you are begging for death.
And that's what's happened to Michael Long. Replay here. Contact between Long and Jacob Collins in the corner. Just that little bit of contact on the rear sends him tumbling into turn 4. And the rear suspension is gone on the 21. That is race over for Michael Long, unfortunately. That is going to be a first lap retirement for that car. And well, I did say we've seen some incidents on the first laps, and that was one of them. I wonder if we're going to see many people coming in for a quick fix up, a couple of laps of extra fuel, or if they're all going to stick out. At the moment, it just looks like Jacob Collins is coming in, possibly just to make sure there's no damage to that number 12.
Ugh, yeah, you know what? Take advantage of it while you've got it. We were just saying that there has been a lot of yellow flag racing in this league so far, but we've got one on lap 1 of this race tonight. So it's going to be a tough. It's already been proving to be a tough situation for some of these guys here. Shame to see Collins out early, but it looks like Catherine Clement's going to get her spot back, or get his spot back. Is that Catherine behind the wheel, or am I? Is that just an iRacing name? I think it's just an iRacing name, probably.
We'll go with it, and I'm sure we'll be corrected at some stage. So
that's fine.
Back there on the lead lap, crucially, so managed to get out there and get on the lead lap. So that's going to be crucial. Everybody seems to be sticking it out at the moment. Nobody coming in for that. Nobody coming in just for a quick top up of fuel, which I'm surprised at, because not done many laps, but an extra lap here or there can just give you a little bit more option later in the race.
Hey, everything counts, and especially in a race that's timed, where you just want to stay out for as long as you possibly can. When the yellow comes out and everybody has to slow down, that might not be a bad idea, especially so early when you can get track positions back if you're fast.
Absolutely, it's as you say, you're more used to stock cars, myself as well, racing stock cars on these kind of circuits, and it is that thing of you get every little litre of fuel, every little gallon of fuel, every little tiny bit makes a big difference. They're lining up here. It is a single line restart. Up on the top, it's Wes Shear coming to the line. The green flag will be dropping, and we'll be going back to racing very, very shortly here for TNT here on National Racing Network. And away they go. Good start for Shear up the front. Now watch out behind, where it is going to start to get as spicy as possible, and we should be in for some good racing action.
Really good launch for Sheer. That single file launch is something that, you know, I haven't witnessed that in a couple of months here. But, oh, we got another one around, and he's into the wall.
Big contact for Drew Bernardi. And that is the second car in so many laps. I said that hitting tyre temperature is going to be the thing that's going to be crucial for this race. We remain green here, though, and Bernardi just losing it on the exit. A big snap on the exit of the corner. Rear steps out and heavy impact for the 86, and that is end of the night for Bernardi. Watch this on the exit, just coming through, takes that high line, just goes down on the slightly grippier asphalt on the inside line, and I think that might have been what upset the car on the exit and heavily into the wall. That is a big shame for Drew Bernardi, and that is race over and done with. Meanwhile, up at the front, Ben Carswell, Victor Aldrich fighting it out just behind them. Nick Amaho, Jason Miller side by side too. We've got James Watson working his way through the pack, and we are racing here at New Hampshire.
Oh, I'd love to see it. Watson already 7 up from where he started at the back of the pack. Jacob Collins had a little bit of a wall bang. It looks like it cost him a few positions. He's at the end of the line right now, stuck in behind Catherine Clement. They're working their way forward, but without getting into the bubble of the 13, Peter Donchak, Catherine's going to need to make up some speed here. Jacob Collins just not able to get back on after that door bang. I think it might have rattled him a little bit. But let's go back to James Watson. As I was talking, he made up another position now. He is 8 up, looking really good in that lime yellow green, that 90s throwback paint scheme. It looks fantastic. But he's got eyes on Jason Miller, and Miller is about a second ahead of him right now as we come down through 1 and 2 into the back stretch. So he's got some distance to make up, but he's got the time to do it. So this is the time to find that groove, get into it, and figure out a way to carry as much momentum as he can to try to close that gap, which the gap, I must say, is currently closing.
Absolutely, and luckily for us, it is that beautiful fluorescent lime greenish yellow color, because I think that's the only way we're going to see some of these cars tonight. If you've got a white car out there, you are going to be invisible. Maybe that's been some of the problems we've been seeing. They need to get some lights on these things because they are basically invisible to most of us. But yeah, we're seeing some good racing here, and down the inside goes the 13, Peter Donchak, really taking a tight line there, trying a bit of a different position, and it's not working because side by side Jacob Collins goes and gets past Donchak there, moving up a position. Meanwhile, up at the front, we've got a battle for second place. It's Aldrich and Carswell side by side. Up on the high side is Carswell. Aldrich going down the inside will have the speed in the entry and mid corner. Carswell should have a better exit here. Taking that higher line will get a bit more momentum. Aldrich just needs to try and almost do a slide job, get underneath Carswell here, slide up in front of them, and just cut them off on the exit. But as they're doing this, it's allowing Kamaho to really close the gap. It just gives the wall a bit of a rub there, but really close the gap and actually get a position.
Camaro is how you pronounce that last name? I want to make sure I get that right. Camaro is really moving right now, up to 3, up from 6 where he started. Very, very good, keeping people competitive up here at the front. As you mentioned, he was tucked in behind Carswell, next to Carswell, trying to get him some positions there. Carswell right now moving up. Here comes Camaro on the inside.
That inside line looking very fast at the moment. Kamaho making the position, moving up into P2, and I've been pronouncing it Kamaho, so I'm just going to go with that. Not been corrected
yet.
That
works for me.
We'll see how it goes. Name pronunciation is not my best aspect. It should be as a commentator, but no, definitely not. But really good drive there, up 4 positions. The 59 looking very strong here tonight. Taking that tight line, so is Victor Aldrich at the moment. But that could come back to hurt them later in the race, as tyre wear could come into it a little bit. I spoke to the drivers before the race. Tyre wear, not a huge issue here. But if you're taking that slightly tighter line, you can just work the tyres a little bit harder. With the cool track conditions, that might not be a bad thing here tonight, but we will see what happens as the race ticks on.
As the race ticks on, we have Wes Shear up in the first place still right now after that great launch, after that yellow flag restart. Shear's line has been somewhere around the middle of the track during the turns, and then he rides up to the wall on the outside during the exits. It's a good line. He never dips it too low, but, right now, I think just entering the bubble, that's Camargo. Camargo is right there behind him in the number 2 slot, and if he can get into that bubble, he'll make another move down to the inside because, as you mentioned and as we've seen, even if the outside has got good momentum, that inside is very fast tonight.
Absolutely. He's getting into the draft of Shear as well, and that's going to be crucial. Once you get that slipstream and just start catching up, it makes you go so much faster, and you can see they're visibly closing in. Meanwhile, Watson working his way through the pack, up 9 positions, just got past Jason Miller, moving himself up. Good battle as well between Stephen Thompson and Jacob Collins and Simon Fell as well. There's a nice battle going on throughout the pack at the moment, which is what we love to see. Not so much for Kobe, because Kobe has to try and look at all the different screens, but for us enjoying the race, it is very much fun indeed. And I wonder if we can see Kamayo just easing off a little bit here, just trying to keep himself in the draft and maybe do a little bit of fuel saving, because that's something you can do when you're sitting behind another car. When you're leading, you have to be a little bit more aggressive on the throttle. So Shear might be the one that's sacrificing a little bit of fuel here, but staying in the lead while everybody behind can just save a little bit, extend it a tiny bit, and possibly turn it into a nice easy one stop. With those cautions, with that caution though, that will have helped their chances of doing that. So we'll see how that one plays out too. Strategy always a key feature in these races.
Oh, you're telling me it's half the game. You want to get out there and make good decisions in the moment, but if you don't have a plan going into it, a plan that's flexible, a plan that's holistic, that thinks about the other cars in the race as much as your own, you're leaving you're leaving potential on the table. And for some of these guys, they've already got that strategy, and they're thinking to themselves, okay, I'm here. Here's where I'm going to stay. I'm going to get myself here during the race. I'm going to lock in. And then maybe after that first pit, that's where I'll turn it up a little bit. Yeah,
it's always crucial to have that flexibility in there, because strange things can happen in a race, and sometimes you find yourself in a very advantageous position. Other times, not so much. Good move there. Carswell just going down the inside, gets his way past Kamaho. Kamaho, though, getting back down the inside, looking to get himself back into second place. This fight is a constantly ongoing thing. And then right behind, we got Aldrich and Watson battling it out as well. So the top 5 positions at the moment really swapping and changing almost every lap. The only position that is safe at the moment, got to say, is first place, with Wes Shear in the lead in the 16.
Yeah, a lot of the battles that have been going on behind Shear have been costing the people in second place a chance at him. They've got to play defense. They end up falling back a little bit. They end up rearranging positions and stealing each other's thunder a touch. If they not work together, but if they could get things lined up a little bit to be more consistent with these turns and not try to move for attacks, they might be able to push each other just that much closer to Wes, where they can actually take a chunk out of him, but they're still just far enough away.
Yeah, not broken free, crucially, Shear. So it's sort of still in that position where people can catch quite easily once they get the draft. But bit of a wall hit there for Watson as well. Looks like got away with it, but the right rear just giving the wall a big thump on the exit of turn number 2. Hopefully that has not done too much damage to that right rear suspension piece, but it's so easy to damage them. These cars, they can be quite robust sometimes, but with any open wheeler, a hit to the wall, those suspension arms are pretty fragile things, and it's so easy just to damage it. Still that fight for second place going on, and as you said, just costing each other a little bit of time.
And man, Wes has just been dominating up here at the front, but now it's almost side by side with Carswell and Camargo. Now it is side by side. Carswell up on top, losing the spot again potentially. These guys have been cycling and dancing around each other for the past 10 laps here.
Really taking a tight line. They're going to try and slide it up in front of Carswell. Doesn't have the gap. The car was starting to scream at him as well. The 59 really taking that tight line. The back end stepping out a little bit. He had to dance on that throttle to keep it pointing in the right direction. This is a better opportunity. Does he slide it up? Not quite the room for the 48 to be slid in front of yet. But Kamaho might have the opportunity here, coming through 3 and 4. Will have the chance to slide it up in front of Carswell and makes that position right back. But Carswell's not going to sit there and take it for long, looking to go back on the attack. And now Watson joining the mix too.
Yeah, Watson's just going to make this more confusing, but right now Carswell and Camargo are what I'm watching. And I'm wondering when and how Carswell's going to get out from around him. Does he stay high? Does he stay up on the outside, or does he bring it back low?
But I say at the moment, Carswell's been more confident on that higher line. Kamayo's been much confident on the lower line, and it looks like he's going for the attack for the lead right now. Kamayo going down on sheer, trying to get that position, taking that tighter line. Going to lose a little bit of exit speed there, jumps right back into the draft of the car in front once more, slipstreaming down these long straights here at the Magic Mile of New Hampshire. It is TNT here on National Racing Network, brought to you by TWRS.
I think Wes Shearer is finally getting some competition, my friend. Camargo side by side with the leader for a second. Doesn't have the speed, though. Falls back in behind. We're going to see that challenge come out again, though, I think, very soon, as Camargo is putting the screws to the heels of Wes Shearer.
Yeah, really putting the pressure on, but that's sort of not quite making that position's cost them again. The 59 just dropping back a little bit, and Carswell going on the attack, but goes on the attack and then has to go on the defense for Watson. So they are really just battling it out so hard here, as we could basically see on the screen. Again, apologies for the beautiful New Hampshire foggy weather here. We've had a rather large fog bank roll into the track, and it makes everything just a little bit hard to spot from some of the camera angles. But we are having some great racing here tonight, and we are getting to view some fantastic action. And as I said at the start, it's basically a super speedway for these cars, real big drafting action, and they are giving us a great entertaining race. The top five, I should say, have been absolutely on it, and really nice close-knit racing. There's a big drop-off to Ben Labarge, who is just sort of keeping on at the moment in the number 8, with Stephen Thompson and Simon Fell. Jason Miller is a bit in no man's land at the moment, sort of all on his lonesome. Same with Jacob Collins and Peter Donchek. They're sort of having their own little race towards the back. And Catherine Clement at the moment, all on their lonesome in the 11, down in 12th position as it stands. So it won't be long until we start seeing some pit stops. Heavy contact in the wall there for Labarge. That was a big whack. Great avoidance there as well. That could have been a big, nasty crash.
Whew. You were just saying we're going to see some pit stops. I thought we were about to see everybody pit stop for a second. I thought that was going to be a yellow. Oh! Up here at the front, we got the eyes here. Into the wall briefly goes Camargo. And Carswell right behind him. Just a little smoke off the wall.
I wonder if those tyres have started dropping off. We saw there with Labarge heavy into the wall. And I think it was Stephen Thompson as well. Stephen Thompson heavily into the wall and followed by Labarge. Labarge getting into the pit lane, coming through, looks like regular stop time as well, 7.5 seconds. So fresh tyres now for Labarge. Maybe an unintended earlier stop for them, as they seem to be just keeping it steady. But they should be able to make it to the end from here. But that was a big moment back then. And as you said, with Kamayo getting that hit in the wall too, looks like the tyres just starting to drop off a little bit, and they're having to be a bit cautious. The car's just scrubbing up the track a little bit, losing the losing the grip, getting a bit tight on them, and just running up into that wall.
And that wall has been hungry tonight. You know, we're only about not even quite halfway through the race, and we're almost halfway through the race. We're about 5 minutes off from halfway through the race, but we've already seen about 4 or 5 people hit that wall pretty good. And not like because they're getting shoved up there, you know, just they're sort of sliding up there.
Yeah, it's a bit like it feels a little bit like Darlington sometimes, doesn't it? Where the wall just comes at you, and it's almost like there's a magnet up there. These slightly flatter tracks tend to be very unforgiving when you just make a little mistake and just get on that power a little bit too early in the mid corner.
You know what? That's a really good way to look at it. You don't want to get on that power too early. You've got to be patient. Patience, again, we mentioned it earlier. Patience is the name of the game. Slow can be fast.
Unfortunately for myself, slow is just slow. It never goes fast.
Yeah. Isn't that the way it is, though? Yeah, slow is just slow for me, too.
We are seeing Labarge out there on those fresh tyres, not setting the times alight as we go down the middle, 3 wide here. Big run for Jacob Collins as Labarge just goes up in the wall once more. And I think that might be big moment for Labarge, and I think that might be night over for the number 8 and last week's winner. It has not gone so well here at New Hampshire for Labarge. Big shame for them. And, after the joy and spectacle of last week, crashing down to reality this week at New Hampshire.
Crashing down to reality is a good way to put it. It's interesting that the simulation brings out the most out of reality, but that's what we're getting. And we are getting some realistic reactions, some realistic weather, and definitely a realistic damage model here.
It is always so soul-crushing when you have a good week and then follow it up with a week that is just a horror show. It really can knock the confidence, but you just have to take a deep breath and go back to it. Meanwhile, up the front, Wes Shear is under attack once again. Kamaho really putting the pressure on at the moment. The 59ers looks like it's just got some great pace out there, really able to take that tighter line. Wes Shear's really been unchallenged at the front pretty much all race long, so what can that 16 do? Will we see Shear taking a different line? Did take a different line through 3 and 4 there, that much tighter line, cutting it off from Kamaho, forcing Kamaho up high now. So good defensive driving here from Shear. Seeing Kamaho's gone down low every time in the race, now goes low themselves, tries to be in a position for Kamaho, but I think we're going to see Shear possibly in the pit lane now. Yes, we are. The 16 pulls it into the lane now. Not a surprise, been leading all race long, remember, will have been using a bit more fuel. So it looks like now is the time the fuel is running out.
Yeah, when you're up in front, you're guzzling it down. Whether in your strategy, you better include that. You better include the fact that you're going to be burning more fuel than everybody else if you're out in front. And so in this case, yeah, he was out in front. He was definitely using more fuel just on the very nature of being there. So topping up, necessity. No way to push it at this point. No reason to.
Another car in for fuel is the 39 with James Watson having to fight his way through the pack. Watson will need to come into the lane now for a stop, joined by Catherine Clement and Stephen Thompson. So we are starting to see those pit stops come in. How much longer can the leaders stick it out? We're seeing it now as Kamaho comes in with Carswell, with Aldrich, and we've got the lead pack in now. It's all contact between Carswell and Kamaho on the entrance to pit lane. Carswell just going into the back of Kamaho, and that will not help things out for the front of Carswell's car. Watch here on the replay. Just mistimes that braking heavy into the gearbox of Kamaho, and that will have damaged the front wing. That could be a front wing change for the 48 here, and that could be a long pit stop there.
Whew, that would be a long pit stop. Let's see what happens. Let's see how long he takes down there.
And looks like the repairs are done. 11.4 seconds. Yes, it was a long stop, and that's going to cost Carswell a lot of time. Those repairs done at least, but a good 4 seconds longer than everybody else. Peter Donchak has taken the lead of the race now, the 13 up there in the beautiful old Caterham F1 colours, taking the lead, and now we'll be pulling it into the lane here. We've got that nice bonus point, but when it all shakes out, as we've got Catherine Clement in the wall and just made the pit stop. What was I saying about cold tyres earlier on? Another car being caught out by it.
Yeah, you try to put the pedal to the metal on cold tires and you're just going to end up sliding all over the place.
Very lucky not to go into the barrels at the end of pit lane there, but that is definitely race done for Catherine Clement, unfortunately. Not how you want to finish your first race in a series. Meanwhile, Donchak back out on track. Shear in the lead. So Shear is to retain the lead here, but is being chased down by the Brazilian. It's Nia Camacho right on the gearbox of Shear at the moment. And once again, putting him under pressure. The gap at the front has really opened up, though. A lot of cars just losing time. It looks like the overcut was a slightly better strategy, as that tyre temperature just needing to go back up there has taken a bit longer for some of these guys, and it's just dropped them right off the back of the pace, really spread out the field.
Yeah, tires really were more in the equation than I think I've seen in a long time. I mean, some of these guys, as you mentioned, weren't thinking about going into this with tires as a deep consideration. You gotta always think about tires. There's no option.
It's such a crucial part of racing, and it's one of those things that you sometimes see is sometimes the undercut is the best thing. Usually on ovals, the undercut is the king. You come in for fresh tyres and you go much faster, but when it's a cold day like this and you've got tyre temperature to consider, taking a bit of time to warm up and needing that temperature to come in, the overcut can sometimes be a better option, and tonight it looks like that has been the best option. We saw, other than Wes Shear, he managed to get it back out in the lead. James Watson really dropped down the order. Maybe a little bit of repair needed as well, but really lost a lot of time in those pit stops, and it has shaken things up here at the front. So what will we see in the last half of this race when they all try and close up once again?
Well, we're going to see Wes Shear right now. It's good to see him back out front, but after him, it's Camargo and Aldrich.
Yeah, these three cars have been right on top so far, and you got to say, Camargo looks to have a little bit more pace maybe, but are we seeing the ultimate pace from the 16 of Wes Shear?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right about Camargo having pace, though. He's got a very similar high line. He's not sliding the car too much. He's barely applying brake. Like he's got his ways set, and if he just drives it, he's going to be competitive for the rest of the race.
Just looking through the order, a big loser in that pit stop was Ben Carswell, down 4 spots from his race start, but down in 6th position now. That little bit of contact into the back of Camargo really cost a lot of time, and it does not look like that car is back up to the early race pace, as we've got Stephen Thompson all over the back of him at the moment, really putting him under pressure. The battle for 6th and 7th is very much on as well, and big shame for Ben Carswell. Just that little mistake in pit road, and those little mistakes can cost you a huge amount in a race like this.
They really can. They add, like we mentioned, they add up. Every little bit adds up. Every little bit will end up costing you potentially track positions, potentially something greater. You need everything in a race like this. Every advantage that you can get, everything that you can stack, you need to try to get it.
Yeah, it's always a thing that I find people that neglect, you can really see in races, is pit stops, and getting it on and off pit road is such a crucial thing to have right in oval racing, and any racing really, but oval racing especially, because it's such small time margins you're looking at. If you can gain a couple of tenths of a second in and off pit road, you can make up a huge amount of time on track, and it can be the difference between finding yourself at the front of the pack and at the back of it. Meanwhile, up the front, it is Sheer, Kamaho, and Aldrich. Aldrich closing in on the two leaders at the moment, setting the pace as it stands as well. The third place man in the 98, 26.9 last time round. The only driver currently in the 26s.
The only driver in the 26s, yeah, the only one able to get down there, I guess, yeah. Delicate place to be, though. That's a qualifying lap time, right? Or is he in that for the race right now?
Well, I think maybe a bit of that was in the draft as well, just getting that slipstream helping a bit there. But yeah, really pushing it at the moment. And as you're saying, you've got to be careful not to go too hard sometimes. When you're really trying to catch up to the cars in front, you can sometimes find yourself over pushing and then finding yourself dropping back as the race goes on. But I think the 26.9s are basically draft assisted, and looks like that is the case as Kamaho this time round is in the 26.9s as well as Aldrich. So they're closing in. What Sheer wants to see behind him, though, is Aldrich starting to attack Kamaho and forcing Kamaho to defend. And that could be the chance for the 16 to scarper away and get into a slightly more comfortable lead. A bit further back, Jason Miller is having to keep an eye on his rear view mirrors too, as James Watson is closing in.
Watson has just been an absolute beast in tonight's race so far. Hardest charger, obviously, considering he started at the end of the line. He's now made his way into the top 5, currently sitting at 5th place. He's trying to make the move right now for 4th.
Taking that inside line, trying to get that move done. Will he be able to slide up and get in front of Miller? Will Miller be able to hold that spot? Holding the position at the moment, Miller, just keeping his racing line. But Watson slides up in front of Miller, gets the job done. Will Miller be able to go on the attack now? Will we see Miller taking that low line and trying to get past? Looks like Miller's just happy to stay on that slightly higher line at the moment, not being too racy there, just sort of sticking on the back, and that might be a good move from Miller. Just stick right to the back of James Watson and close the gap on Aldrich in front. That could well help you as this race goes on, because they've got a good 4 seconds to make up to the leaders now, and the leaders, if they start battling, that gap will close very, very quickly.
Up at the front. This is, yeah, there we go. We're still looking at Watson here right now, just a little bit ahead of Jason Miller. Moving ahead over there to the front, though, I think this is Wes Shearer getting absolutely chased down by Camargo. That 59 machine is fast.
Yeah, it definitely seems to just have the pace at the moment, but Shear's just doing such a good job of defending and just keeping that car where Kamaho wants to race and sort of keeping that line perfectly, so Kamaho can't just get too far underneath him. I think if Shear can keep the low line defended, I think Kamaho might just struggle to get the overtake done. And if he can just force Kamaho just to lose a little bit of time, then Aldrich can go on the attack and Shear can go back to just having a couple of moments to breathe once more up the front.
There we go, coming around. We've got about 18 minutes left in tonight's race, folks. Wes Shear out in front, Camargo in second, Aldrich in third. Shear and Aldrich are where they started tonight's race. Camargo's up 4 in the podium, making his way up there. He had a very ambitious start and stayed up at the front even through the yellow flag. So really, really good race there out of him. But the race has been dominated by Wes Shear and the few knocks and dings that we've had to mix things up. But aside from that, Wes Shear hasn't seen any of it. Anything, it would all be in his rearview mirror, because he and this group of 3 are just far enough ahead. Right now, I guess it's a group of 3. The next closest person would be Jason Miller, about a half second back. It's a very, very wide field, but it's also a very talented one.
Absolutely, and we might just take this quick brief moment to take a quick ad break and rejoin you in just a couple of moments here on National Racing Network.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
And welcome back to NRN National Racing Network. We are here for TNT Tuesday Night Thunder, and it is the Shock Series, round number 6 at New Hampshire Speedway, brought to you by TWRS, Team Watson Racing Setups. And we join back to some great action here as Shear is still defending against Kamaho. It's myself, Carl Wilkinson, with Joe Locastro up here in the booth. And Joe, we've seen some great racing so far, but I think this front action is going to really heat up on this foggy day here at New Hampshire.
You know what? I think you're right. I think we found the guys who are going to have the fight. You know, we found the constituents of the battle. And those are the 4 guys that we've got out here at the front. They are the constituents. They're the belligerents. That's the word I was looking for. They're the belligerents. And these are going to be the guys that decide when the trigger gets pulled and exactly what that looks like. So I think I'm pretty excited to see over the next, 10 minutes or so when that trigger gets pulled, how it gets pulled, who pulls the trigger. Let's find out.
It looks like Kamaho's pulling that trigger right now, going on the attack down the inside into turns 1 and 2, taking that tighter line. Can he get himself just in front of the 16 and slide himself up in front? Not quite through for 1 and 2, 3 and 4, maybe for about 59. Gets himself just enough ahead and will slide himself up into the lead of this race. And it is near Kamaho taking the lead from Wes Shear here with 13 minutes remaining. Shear back on the attack, going down the inside through 1 and 2. They are fighting so hard here at the front, and Shear has got a very fast car when he needs to. We haven't seen the full pace of it yet. Kamaho has looked to be a bit faster. If he can pull out a gap here, he will absolutely be so happy, and gets that done now as Shear did a half-hearted attack there and it cost him time.
Yeah, that half-hearted attack will cost you more time than you think. And that switch, oh man, Camargo, that inside line, he knows how to make it pay off. And that is what I've been waiting to see all night. Someone else leads some laps besides Wes Shear.
A really nice job indeed. I'm just looking back a little bit. 4th position, James Watson, up 10 spots now, 3.5 seconds behind. He saw that little battle happening in front of them, just could see through the fog. The leader's battling it out, and I'm sure will have been rubbing his hands together thinking, oh, this could be my chance to catch up. But now Kamaho's managed to get back out in front and get this lead. We could see that front pack pulling away a little bit. So it should be some great action. Victor Aldrich just sitting back there, still not pushing too hard. Watch out for that 98 in the final stages. I wonder if Aldrich is just keeping those tyres nice and alive and waiting to go on the attack in the final few minutes of this race. It is Kamaho in the lead ahead of Shear, Aldrich, Watson and Miller. That's our top 5 at the moment. And we are seeing some great battles here at the front of New Hampshire.
And down across the line they come one more time. Getting ready for that 10-minute mark coming up here. Shear signaling maybe for something. Nope, not quite. I thought maybe he was going to pop out and say, hey, I'm on the inside again. I'm going to see you in my rearview mirror. But he hasn't quite said that yet. He's probably waiting for the right moment.
Yeah, good driving here from Kamara as well. Just not defending clean air, just sort of keeping it in a position just to keep the pace up at the moment. And that's always a good thing to do. If you drive too defensively, you're just going to cost yourself time. At the moment, Kamara just keeping himself up there. And are we seeing Aldrich coming in for a second stop here? I think we are. Victor Aldrich bringing it in here for the second stop. So this throws a absolute cat amongst the pigeons right now. If they need to make another stop, this race is going to be a very, very intriguing one for sure. How long will they stick it out? Will we see anybody trying for a one stop here?
I mean, the one stop could be possible with only 10 minutes left, but it's going to be so close.
James Watson into the lane as well. Meanwhile, up the front, Kamaru is getting attacked once more. This battle for the lead is on between the 59 and the 16. And, well, we've seen how hard these two have been pushing. Surely they will not be able to make it to the end. They'll have to do some real heavy fuel saving if that's the case. And it looks like Shear is just keeping himself really low through that corner. I thought Shear was going to come in then, but no, just keep himself low on the attack of Kamaru, and they are going for it. So this will be intriguing. We saw earlier that the overcut was the option, sticking it out longer, not coming in too soon. Will that be the same for this stint, I wonder, as back through the pack a little bit. Watson has closed right on the back of Victor Aldrich. Maybe a shorter time in the lane, I think, for James Watson. Just managed to absolutely close those 2 or 3 seconds that he had an advantage on the track, Aldrich. Watson is right up there. And when these leaders come in, if they come in, then we're going to see Watson in the mix for the battle, I think.
Here they are still side by side. Watson moving up. Oh, Watson's got, who's right next to you right now? Is that Jacob Collins on the just behind him there? I think so.
That was Victor Aldrich.
That's Victor Aldrich. Excuse me.
So poor position that one. That's 5th and 6th at the moment, and we are seeing Shear come into the lane right now. Brings it down onto the apron, coming into turn number 3. Long way around there. Takes a bit of time to get that car slowed down. You don't want to speed in the pit lane. They get on the limiter, and into the lane Shear comes. Wow, sticking it out, going for a bit longer on track. Longer you stay out, less time you stay in for fuel at least. Tyres, though, are going to be the crucial thing. If you're changing those tyres, it's going to take about 7 seconds to do that. So you sort of don't get a huge advantage with the fuel if you're keeping those tyres on. How long will Kamaru stick it out here, and how fast can he go? Remember what we saw earlier, the cold tyres just took a bit of time to warm up, and that cost people time. Yeah,
it cost them time. It cost some people their whole car.
Absolutely, yeah.
We had a few wall bangs in those cold tires. Remember, we lost a few folks. I'm trying to remember who exactly it was. I think it was Michael Long or Catherine Clement. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to be careful. And right now, I think Kamaru's still just keeping it out there. And how much further can Kamaru go here? Did spend a lot of time behind Shear, but now needs to pull it into the lane, down onto the apron, into the pit entry. Kamaru goes, the 59 gets it down to speed before that crucial line, and it's now a long trot here down the front straight to the box to get that service done. Stephen Thompson bringing it into the lane, and this will promote Jacob Collins up into the lead. We saw Collins in a bit of trouble earlier on in the race, getting a little bit of contact, but now bringing it into the lane as well. So the fight is on. How close will Shear be to Kamaho. Shear coming down the front straight now. Coming into turn 1. Kamaho just on the exit. It's going to be very close at the pit exit right now, but Kamaho has managed to make it work, but now he's on cold tyres himself. This is going to be the opportunity for Shear. Shear should have a little bit more pace advantage on those nicely warmed up tyres. This is always the hard bit when you come out on those cold tyres. You're going to lose so much speed. You can see it there on the exit, just can't get his foot down. And Wes Shear gets himself back into the lead of the race. Kamaho's going to be desperately trying to get those tyres up to temperature, just can't afford to go too much. Shear gets a little bit wobbly on the exit of turn number 2, but has managed to get himself back into the lead of the race. But the battle is once again on between these two cars.
That was quite the run there. Really impressive energy there, Carl, I gotta say. It's been a hell of a race. We're down to the last 5.5 minutes here. Wes Shear has found his way back up to the front, as you mentioned. Camargo, Watson, Aldrich, all names that I'm keeping a close eye on right now, because almost all of them are involved in battles as we get close enough to get down to the line to be able to see it from here.
Yeah, and crucially for Watson, has managed to close the gap to 1.4 seconds to the leaders. So is in with a shout of this race. If he can close it up, should, I think about a second, maybe about 0.8 of a second will be where the slipstream really starts to pick up. Once he gets in that draft, he will really close in on those leaders. You start getting a little bit of an advantage, about 1.5 seconds behind. But as it closes in, we're going to see Watson really closing in on the front, and we could well see a four-way battle for the lead of this race with just 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Oh, man, fingers crossed. Fingers are crossed for that four-way battle. I'd love to see it. Reminds me of Coda over the last week. Twice have I seen multi-car battles at the finish line for the finish. So exciting.
Do not remind me, I have to do Coda tomorrow night in the truck, and I am not looking forward to that.
Well, if you're in the middle of qualifying pack, be careful in turn 1. Just go a little wide and give everybody some space. Just on turn 1, lap 1.
If I'm in the middle of the qualifying pack, it will be a miracle. but no.
Well, then if you're in the back, you're fine, because you'll see it happen and you can just avoid it.
Just drive nice and slowly. It'll be fine. We're not seeing that at the moment, though. They are driving their hearts out. And now James Watson is in the draft, in the slipstream. He's managed to get down to a 26.9, and is closing up on this lead pack. 3 minutes 30 to go. About 7 laps of action that will equate to. And Watson is closing the gap. If Kamayo can get in on the back of Shear, he will try and get that overtake done, but that's going to cost those leaders even more time, and that's going to allow Aldrich and Watson to really close this gap and get themselves in the battle. The podium positions are all up for grabs at the moment. The win could well be up for grabs between 4 drivers very, very soon here.
It's anybody's race. Still. I thought that Shear might walk away with it.
Yeah, it did look a bit that way earlier on, and just getting a little bit wobbly. There's a couple of little moments as Shear has to defend now, because right down the inside goes Kamaho and just looks to slide it up. Doesn't quite have the room on the exit on the front straight. Kamaho's really got to get that move done. Do an old-fashioned slide job, get himself up in front of Shear, block off that high line, get that position made. This is going to help Watson close the gap now, as those two are fighting it out, and Watson is within 0.8 of a second, so he is in that slipstream realm. Kamaho once again really using that low line to his advantage, able to keep himself there. Up on high line is Shear, really able to use the momentum on the exit of the corner to just creep back ahead on the straights as they fight it side by side. It is anybody's race for this lead now, as the battle is really heating up.
Let's see what happens here. We've got 1 minute and 41 seconds left on the clock. The battle is hot here. It really hasn't been like this all race so far, but all of a sudden here in the second half, as things really kicked off after our commercial break, we've had nothing but battle going on here. And the battle between Wes Shear and Camargo at the front is still heated up. Shear is not letting go.
A little bit of a better exit here for Camargo. Almost had the opportunity to slide up. Shear just gets a little bit of a bad run off the corner. This could be the opportunity for Camargo to secure that front place, but now Watson's in the mix. Watson down the inside. Now Shear has to defend against Watson, who is worked his way up from the back of this pack up into the front three. We have got 54 seconds remaining. Down the inside goes Shear on Camargo. Shear takes the position back. Great racing here. They were almost 3 wide for a second then.
Just about. Watson with a little bit of a wiggle coming out of that turn there. He's stuck behind the two, though. He doesn't have room to get past. He's going to have to pick his lane. He picks the bottom lane, tucks in behind Camargo. We got 30 seconds here. He's on the inside of Shear. No, he's back on the top lane with Shear. Can he get past? Not quite.
Watson really looking to take that low line, really trying to get that position made, and has just managed to get Shear just out of position. The white flag is out. It is the final lap. Can Camargo hold on to that spot? Can Watson make the attack? Can Shear come back for the attack? Shear's led almost all of the laps tonight, but Camargo is leading the most important lap, the final lap. Into the final corner they go. Shear gets a good run down the inside, very, very late. Doesn't quite get the drive off the corner. Can he make the slipstreaming work? Doesn't look like it, and it's going to be near Camargo taking victory here at New Hampshire, where Shear comes in second place with James Watson in third, Victor Aldrich fourth, and Jason Miller rounding out the top 5.
Woo, what a drive out of Wes Shear. What a drive out of everybody. Camargo, Watson, Shear, Aldrich. Let's give it up for him. Everybody in this race tonight really drove a heavy race. James Watson coming up 11 positions to where he finished. Wes Shear leading almost the entire race until he gets double attacked by Camargo and Watson at the same time. And Camargo, the champion tonight, holding off after winning the spot, holding it off with just enough of the front fender to win it all.
Absolute top-notch drive from all of the drivers up in the prime spots tonight, and they are celebrating hard after that race. They definitely enjoyed it. We've got 3 cars doing the victory donuts on the track. Yeah, Camargo, absolutely love it. James Watson managing to roll it somehow. How do we get a replay of that one, please, Kobe? Because just impressive to roll it in victory celebration donuts. I don't know how you manage that one. That's a new one on me. But yeah, what a great finish to the race there from all of these drivers. Here we see the replay of the roll.
Awesome.
Awesome. That's a proper celebration there. All of these
words
drivers
right out of my mouth. Almost said the exact same thing. That's a proper celebration.
Where Shear managing to get Watson back on the right side, tipping him over like a turtle. Let's run through the finishing order for tonight's race. It was Nia Camargo taking the victory here tonight, with Wes Shear in second and James Watson in third position. Victor Aldrich comes home in fourth, with Jason Miller in fifth position. Stephen Thompson sixth, seventh for Simon Fell. Ben Carswell, unfortunate, that car had some great pace early on, but that contact in pit lane really cost him, down in eighth. Ninth place for Jacob Collins. Peter Donchek in 10th position. We'll go over the page. It's Catherine Clement in 11th position. Brian Labarge we saw out with a big spin, unfortunately for him, in 12th position. Drew Bernardi 13th, and Michael Long, the first of the cars, out on lap number 1 tonight, unfortunately for him. What a fantastic race here at New Hampshire, round number 6 of the season. Great action all around here on National Racing Network. We're going to run some ads quickly as we get the drivers up, and we'll head to the post-race interviews in just a few moments.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we are back here, National Racing Network. It is Tuesday Night Thunder for the Shock Series and a absolute fantastic round number 6 here at a very, very foggy New Hampshire. We are joined by our top 3 drivers here tonight. And third step on the podium, making it back over here to the booth, is James Watson, up 11 positions in that race. James, welcome back to the booth. Congratulations on P3 tonight. Very, very close there at the end.
Yeah, I'm simultaneously enthralled / livid at that finish because it's like I did so many different things to lose that race and still almost got it at the end, like blowing qualifying. I forgot to recheck tires when because I unchecked tires during the caution because I thought I was gonna top off. I didn't, forgot to recheck them, and when I got on my box and I noticed I wasn't being lifted up, I quickly looked over and turned my tires on, and it lost me about like 4 seconds. That would have been huge. I was just absolutely giving it everything it had, and the fact that I drove up there and was like battling for the win with just a couple laps to go, I should be enthralled, but honestly, it just kind of makes me even more upset because it's like, if I at least didn't mess up with the tires and I didn't have to gain those 4 seconds back, like who knows what would have happened, especially since how fast I was able to go. Like I don't think I would have pulled away from Naiji or West, but having a few more opportunities to kind of plan my attacks and make moves, who knows what would have happened. But yeah, it's a heck of a recovery at least.
Absolutely, and you answered all my questions there as well. Thank you for that. So, make my job a lot easier. Because I did wonder if you'd maybe had some repairs in that pit stop, but unfortunately, an easy mistake to make, the forgetting to check the tyres. I've done it myself a fair few times, and it's never fun when it happens. You're just sitting there going, why are my tyres not being changed? Trying to figure it out, then all of a sudden you go, oh no. But yeah, great drive up. And what actually happened in qualifying? Was it just you ran a little bit too late?
No, that's what I usually do because it psychologically helps me, trying to know how much exactly I need to push it. Like if I see the laps and maybe I get lucky, I'm like, oh, I might be able to do a little bit better than the laps that are on the board. It means I don't have to push as hard and necessarily risk a mistake. So, but I just went through the qualifying like normal. I felt I nailed my entry, and then I was on corner exit, and the rear just washed out. There was no snap. There was no warning. Like in all the times I've got loose or spun in practice, I had an opportunity to save it. I got a warning, but it just went without me being able to do anything. It was frustrating because I think at the very least I could have been like top 2, top 3, because one of my mock runs I was able to do a couple 26.9. So that's what was frustrating. Was I think I had possibly thrown away another pole. At the very least, a much better start than having to start shotgun on the field.
Big shame there, but I mean, got fastest lap tonight, so that's always a nice little bonus just to say you got the speed. But I'm sure it's also frustrating with the fact that you had that mistake and it just cost you that bit of time. But a great run through the field, some great racing out there tonight, James. And well, this position will help keep that championship lead for yourself too.
Yeah, at the very least, the damage control aspects of it, staring down what I thought, like, you can ask everyone, like in the chat, I was like, well, my race is over. I'm absolutely, because from what I gathered in testing, passing was going to be like really hard. So I thought for sure I was absolutely hosed. I didn't think I'd be able to make any passes. So, the fact that I had the pace I did was shocking, and being able to at least get back to a points gain over Brian and Steven and a minimal point loss to Wes, it's huge. Now really got to start worrying about Naiji, since he's finally got the win that he's been searching for all season, and Naiji's going to start putting together some real good results. As long as the luck is better for him, unlike it has been all season.
Absolutely, and we'll get to that in a few moments. But for tonight, James, well done on P3. Love and shout out to the sponsors and people out there. Your adoring fans. Go for it, mate. You've absolutely earned it.
Yes, sir. I gotta thank everyone at Team Watson Racing Setups. Use code WATSPIN39 for 10% off at checkout. I gotta thank Icon Sim Racing Apparel, everyone at the National Racing Network, Boomer Button Boxes, CS Designs and Dizzy V Designs for putting together my paints, and my folks for watching at home.
Thank you so much, James. Congratulations on tonight, and I'm sure we'll see you back in the booth in the coming weeks.
Here's hoping. Cheers, guys.
Next up, we will head to our second place man. It is the number 16. It is Wes Shear. Welcome back to the booth, Wes. Congratulations on P2 tonight on a race that you led a fair amount of it tonight. But the lap that counts so much was just not quite there for you.
Yeah, hey, good to be back. And I wasn't totally calm and collected that whole race. Like the sort of middle stint where Naiji caught me up out of the pit stop is like, oh, he's actually got some speed here. This is, I think he's just sitting behind me, saving his stuff and planning his move. And I was right. But yeah, I mean, bit of a slow burn for that race. But when it kicked off, man, that was a ton of fun.
Absolutely. And well, you had to defend a lot in that race from that man that hit you at the post, but just having to keep out in front tonight. It looked like you had a very, very quick car, especially around the high line, but not so much when it needed to get in tight.
Yeah, I was definitely better down low in practice. I think I just missed the impending track change. I should have set for a little bit looser car in the long run. Sort of wore my right front out a bit too much. I felt okay the first stint, but the second stint it really started going, and I knew I had to take tires on that final stop, and I mean, I'm glad I did, but yeah, it took a swing at the tire pressures, didn't go quite far enough even on the second stint, let alone the third.
Now, well, about the tyres as well, it looked like the cold tyres tonight were a big factor when, especially coming out of the lane. It was very much a race where you sort of had the overcut advantage looked to be somewhat of a better option.
Yeah, definitely. I was setting most of my fast laps right at the end of the stints, even with the right front wear. So, yeah, definitely a little sketchy coming out of the lane on cold tires, but not too bad. But yeah, he'll have another swing at the setup and be better for the next one.
Always good to learn from it and do some tweaks and get it better for the next race. And well, it's been a decent race here at New Hampshire, and having to really race that close almost all race long as well. I imagine that was quite tiring for yourself.
Yeah, that definitely wore down the old nerves a little bit. But yeah, really that middle stint, it was just like, all right, I know the attack is coming at some point. I just need to figure out where. And I knew Naiji was strong on the low line. So I was sort of hoping I'd be able to just like run just low enough in 1 and 2 and then use the tailwind down the back straight and hopefully stay ahead of him there. But yeah, I just didn't quite have it that last couple of times. I mean, I sent it on that last lap. You know, there's a slide job with like 2 or 3 to go, and tried it again on the last lap. But yeah, he defended low enough, and at that point I'd used enough of my stuff up. But yeah, all in all, really fun race.
Absolutely, and well, we're off to New Smyrna Speedway next time. How are we feeling heading off to that track?
It's been a while since we've been there. Last time we were there, I was super dominant. However, I've since shared that setup with everybody, and I think everybody's made improvements, both setup and driving, since then. So I think it'll be a pretty good race. That track races really well. There's a pretty distinct high line, but you can make the low line work. And yeah, it's one of those tracks where it's like, if you run high the whole time, you know, it'll be better for your tires, but slow long run. If you run mid the whole line, you'll be reasonably quick, but open to attack on either the higher mid or higher bottom line. And then if you run the low line, you'll be really quick for a couple laps, but yeah, your right front will be gone real quick. So should be a fun race.
Looking forward to that one. Obviously, championship-wise as well, you managed to finish ahead of James Watson, but only just tonight. He's had such a consistent season so far. It's been a trouble to sort of really try and close that gap.
Yeah, I mean, every little point helps here, but yeah, I think it's going to be tough to get him. He's had a really strong season so far. So I don't know, maybe I'll break out the chrome horn. We'll see.
Well, congratulations tonight, Wes. Well done on P2 here. Before I let you go, shout out to the adoring fans, the sponsors. You've absolutely deserved it here tonight.
Yeah, as always, got to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast and doing a fantastic job with that. Always good to get this out to the world, particularly with this fantastic racing. If anybody out there wants to join, yeah, sign-ups are open. Please come join the party. We are more than happy to help get you up to speed if you're uncomfortable. You know, free setups, you know, track tuning, anything you need. Like we'll get you going. Of course, got to thank Homestead Coffee, keeping me awake and alert enough to throw some of these sliders and hit my marks for 50 minutes straight here. And yeah, and other than that, shout out to Nick's Boots, making some of the best casual and workwear you can possibly get anywhere. Fully handmade, custom anything. I mean, if it's good enough for Pacific Northwest firefighters, it's good enough for the rest of us. So, great stuff.
Thank you so much, Wes. Congratulations on tonight. I'm sure we'll see you back here in the booth in no time.
Yeah, have a good one.
And finally tonight, welcoming to the booth for the first time this season, and while doing it in the best way possible, Nyakamaro, welcome to the booth and congratulations on victory here at New Hampshire.
Yeah, thank you, man. That was a great race. I was really happy to have the win this time.
Absolutely. I mean, you absolutely earned it here tonight. Your car was a complete rocket ship out there. Looked like you had the pace to run on pretty much any line of your choosing.
Yeah, basically, yes. I had a little scare on the first pit stop. I had a 4X on the entry. I don't know what happened. And I had a 55 optional repair, so I was really scared. At the same time, I went like, either going to die in the first corner or it's going to be fine. And luckily, it was fine. And the car was doing great the whole race.
Well, I can tell you what happened. Unfortunately, Ben Carswell went into the back of you just on the pit entry, and we saw him damage the front wing and end up needing to get that repaired. So some damage for yourself there as well, obviously, and it didn't seem to affect the speed at all, which was good.
Yeah, fortunately, he kept saying I lost some grip, but the car was fine all the way, so I was happy. Too bad for Ben, but it was okay for me.
Absolutely, and well, crucially on that last stint, it looked like you were saving a little bit of fuel to really make that overcut work.
Yeah, I kept. I knew that Wes in front of me, he was need to going to bit earlier, and I had a clear track so I could push and try to get some time there, and it worked all right. And at the end, I was like, let him run a bit, then I go catch him because I felt that the car was good for that, and as long as I had more tires and more fuel, I could push as much as I want.
Absolutely, and you crucially didn't panic on that on the pit exit as well. And when we saw Wes just get past you on the warmer tires, obviously you kept yourself right on the back of him, and that seemed to be crucial for the victory here tonight.
Yeah, keeping up the draft was very, very, very important. I was panicking. I was really panicking, but I was able to keep it.
It didn't show too much of your driving style, which is always good. So it's good to be panicking on the inside, but not showing it on the outside.
Yeah, after I finished the race, I said to the guys in the radio, I was literally shaking. It was incredible. I was really, really. It was nerve-wracking. The end of the race was incredible, but well, I can't do that every day.
It's always the thing that when you get that sort of first win or haven't tasted victory in a while, it does get the adrenaline pumping so much. But the great thing is it makes it slightly easier the next time around. And we often see this from drivers when they take that initial victory, get that breakout moment, all of a sudden it starts to click and everything just starts to calm down a little bit. And hopefully that will be the same for you in the upcoming races. As we said, we're heading off to New Smyrna next time out. How are you feeling for that track?
Yeah, it's not my greatest track, but I can do all right there. I'm hoping for a good position, hoping for maybe a podium or maybe a win. It just need to. It's so much changing every time we go there, so we never know what's gonna happen, especially with iRacing having so many upgrades. So I'm confident. I don't know how, but I'm probably gonna do all right, I think.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a much shorter track, but sort of like a very shortened version of New Hampshire with the flatness. So hopefully that's good omen coming into the next race, and we can see you absolutely flying once more out there.
Yeah, let's hope for that, man. I really hope.
Congratulations tonight. I'm sure the fans out there are cheering you on. Congratulations indeed. Before I let you go, though, love a shout out to the fans, the sponsors, everybody. You have more than earned it tonight with this fantastic race victory.
Thank you, man. Yeah. At first, thanks for you guys for the broadcast. It's amazing. And thanks for the guys in TNT and everything they've done to keep up this series running and being so welcome for everyone that wants to race this car and other cars that we have on the Discord. And World Racing, because they are the ones that keep me racing and they are the ones that gave me that car today.
Well done indeed, Nina. Camargo there taking victory and finally getting that top spot of the podium. A well-earned and well-deserved victory here. So, Joe, race over and done with. Obviously a fantastic battle at the end, and I'm very glad you joined us up here tonight.
I'm glad I did too. It was a fantastic battle. I love oval racing. It always excites me. I can't get enough of it. And the fact that I got to watch some oval open wheel racing made my night, Carl. It really did. So it was my honor and privilege to get up here and call this race with you tonight. What a wonderful league, these guys.
Absolutely, a stonking race with a fantastic finish here tonight. All the information on the screen at the moment if you feel like joining in for some on-track action here for the Tuesday Night Thunder series. Kobe's done it. It's Thursday there, so I'll have to go and smack him around the head with a shoe later on in the evening. But big thank you.
A nice slipper, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So we used to run a league, Thursday Night Thunder, so I'm constantly having to question my brain every time I say it. I had years of saying that. We're off to New Smyrna Speedway on March the 18th, so we hope you can all join us there for that. We're looking forward to heading off there next time. But from all of us here at National Racing Network, from myself, Carl Wilkinson Withy, Joe LaCastro, and of course Kobe Jordan up in the booth, a big thank you for joining us, and we will see you again in a couple of weeks' time.